Hello, I'm Ragnarok, and welcome to the Reckoning. So today we are looking at the sub-factions for the Age of Calamitous mod for Conan Exiles. So recently we released the sub-faction video for the Sanguis unit, the first of the sub-factions added to the Cold Embrace. So today we are going to look at the second of the sub-factions, the Knights of the Empress. So as with the Sanguis video, and if you haven't watched it yet, definitely check it out. Pretty cool. We showcased everything that comes with the Sanguis unit and some of the restrictions and stuff like that that comes with that and the advantages of picking them. So as with them, the rules are the same. For picking the Knights of the Empress, you have to be level 80. You have to be the Cold Embrace. Unlike the Sanguis unit itself is gender locked to a female character. The Knights of the Empress, you can be male or female, so that does not matter. So you are pretty much open for this one. Okay, so here we are at the Cold Embrace's faction room. So we're in the faction hall. Pretty much the place that we've come to know for the last year or two or three. Right across there, Stormholds. So we're in the Cold Embrace's room. So as I said, you have to come here still. You still are going to have to pick your Cold Embrace as your faction in order to choose one of these two sub-factions. There's the portal that we've probably seen for a little while. Well, it is now active, so you can run through that. A couple things to say about the sub-factions, specifically affects or is affected by the Knights of the Empress. So as I said in the Sanguis video, and again, if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. But there's been a redistribution, a shift around of the items, decorations, armors, weapons, and stuff like that, and what belongs to what. So a lot of things were you picked the Cold Embrace and you got these items. But now with the sub-factions, some items have been shifted into that. So, for example, the Frost Knight armor is no longer a Cold Embrace core armor. If you choose a Cold Embrace and you decide I don't want to choose a sub-faction, or let's just say you choose Sanguis, you will not have access to making the Frost Knight armor. You would have to have somebody in your clan that chose the Knights of the Empress, or somebody that will give it to you or sell it to you or whatever. So that will be the case with a couple things. Also, one of the other differences between the Sanguis unit and the Knights of the Empress, the Knights themselves, they have a lot more. The armor is definitely a lot more heavy duty, best heavy armor in the game, and they have a lot of weapons that have been added. They have some weapons that were part of the Cold Embrace prior, and then they have some weapons that have been brand new, been added to the Cold Embrace, specifically within the sub-faction. So we're going to take a look at that. But first thing, let's go through the portal. Okay, so here's the new Cold Embrace Sanctuary. Pretty cool. We got this nice little brazier right here. And this room definitely feels, it's actually a lot more fitting for the Knights than it is for the Sanguis. It just gives that feel. I definitely designed for the Cold Embrace with this whole design right here. So pretty cool. And if you haven't watched the Sanguis video, I did mention that room's got some NPCs in it. It's where you'll find the person that teaches you fire magic. It's got a Empress contractor. It's got a waiter. I think there's one more NPC in there. I can't remember. To our right would be the Sanguis unit room, which we covered in that video. And to our left is the room we care about for this one. So, as with that room, we're going to see the armors that belong to that unit, or one of the armors. We see the slew of weapons that we get. We have our horse, which both sub-factions for the Cold Embrace share the same horse, the Zephyras horse. And the saddle is what varies. So this is the saddle of the Empress, or the Knight's saddle. I forget what it's called. We'll cover it when we get to it. But as you see, it's blue. Right here is the gentleman you're going to talk to start your quest line to become the Knight. And then once you finish that quest line, you're going to come back here with the item you have to get, give it to him, and then you'll be able to touch this little statue right here and become one of the Knights. I will say one of the things with the quest line is the quest line for the Sanguis, a little annoying, but it's fairly simple and straightforward. The quest line for the Knights, a little bit more, it's just as easy to follow. After you have a dialogue, it actually tells you where to go and what specifically to do. It's just a little harder to do. You might want to bring a friend. And like I said, we will have a video covering that. But let's start looking into the stuff. Okay, so here we are. So the first of the items, the banners, the Empress banners. I definitely like the design. Definitely fits with that Inarius feel, and it's got that nice little scripting around the side of it. Solid colors, good design. I really like it. And again, it's just very Cold Embrace fitting. We have the Frost Hound statue. So the Cold Embrace gets the Frost Hound as the pet. So why not get a statue for it? And it's actually pretty cool. I like how the eyes glow and stuff like that. A little different. So this is what I was talking about before. The Inarius Elite unit used to be a decoration to the core Cold Embrace. That has been changed, and the Inarius Elite unit is now a decoration. These aren't NPCs. This is a decoration that has been added to the Empress. So this, you won't be able to craft this. They have also visually been changed a little bit. As you can see with the sword, the armor itself, stuff like that. They look a little different than they used to. So as with all the factions and sub-factions, there you have a pet now. So your pet will be the Frost Hounds. And for the sake of curiosity, I did max level it up to level 20. So this is an example of what your stats may look like, or in the range, if you max level your Frost Hound pet. So 1746 is actually a pretty good amount of HP, decent strength and stuff like that. So pretty viable. Now we have the Zephyras horse, and again, I'll show the stats on that one. This is also max level, just to give you an idea what you're looking at for the horse as far as its stamina, its HP and stuff. And then we have the saddle that comes with the horse. So that is unique. The saddle design is actually the same as the Sanguis one, except the Sanguis one is red here instead of blue. Otherwise, it's exactly the same in the horse. There is an actual undead Zephyras horse. We will have a video on how to attain that. It's kind of like its own quest line and stuff like that, and you have to kind of deal with some of the magic system and stuff like that too. So we will go over that in the future. Next item I really like is the Empress Knight statue. So we need some more big statues in the game. We have the Accolonian DLC, really tall ones that are really good for putting like next to like a big pillar or in like a big grand hall or outside a door and stuff like that. So it's nice to actually have one of the AoC ones that are really big. I mean, I know we have the Elvenor one that is pretty massive, but it's nice to have another one, and this one's a little bit more slim than that one. Then also we have the Shadow Trebuchet. So the Shadow Trebuchet was another one that was part of the core unit, but again, with sub-factions, this has been moved into the Knights of the Empress. So that's where you'll find that. Pretty cool. I mean, really nothing's changed about it that I can see. Same Trebuchet, just darker. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the armors and weapons for the Knights of the Empress. First thing we have is the Frost Knight armor. Most of you have probably come to love this armor. It's the best heavy armor in the Age of Calamitous mod, currently at least, or at least at the time I filmed this video. Pretty cool. You know, it's definitely a good mod of one of the other really favorable items with a different helmet. Decent stats, heavy armor, 1440 armor. It gives you full cold protection, so you're not really going to be wearing this in the heat. And gives plus 12 to grit. Next, we have the weapon. We have the Blade of Zynarus. Take a quick look at that. Pretty cool weapon. Again, this was another weapon that was part of the Cold Embrace and has been moved into the Knights. This gives you, it's a two-handed sword, 80 damage, 21 armor pen, 10 plus 10 strength. Pretty cool sword. I've always liked Dark Angel. This is one-handed sword, 76 damage, 26 armor pen, and gives plus 10 to grit. Looks pretty cool. Nice one-handed sword. I don't use them that much, but it's pretty cool. Oh. And one of my favorites, because I am a fan of the pole arms, is the Harbinger Souls. Another one that was moved from the core Cold Embrace into the Knights. And as far as damage, 60 damage, 10 armor pen, and plus 10 to agility. So now we're going to take a look at something. So when you, as with the Cold Embrace, when you pick the Cold Embrace, you get the set armor. You get the set items. You get the banners and you know, some basic stuff that just comes with picking the faction in itself. Same with the sub faction. As soon as you pick a sub faction, you get the standard stuff. So everything I've just shown, you'll have access to. You'll get the decorations and the weapons and the armor, stuff like that. Now these are all level 80 locked, which is kind of a change because originally the Frost Knight armor you actually couldn't get until later. It was actually considered an endgame armor, so you couldn't craft it later. So now you're actually able to craft this heavy armor. It's had, if I can remember correctly, it's actually had a little bit of a nerf. Since you can craft it so much earlier. However, as with the other sub faction, there is an unlockable at level 120. So, and true end game. And what that's going to allow you to do is you're going to be able to craft elite versions of some of the earlier versions. For example, you can craft the elite Frost Knight armor, which is going to be more in line with what it used to be, statted wise. And then there are some unique weapons in this one, and then elite versions of 2 of the other weapons. So we're going to take a look at that. So some of the new weapons we have the first weapon we have is Draughtbane, another one-handed sword, pretty cool looking. Let's see if we can get a good look at it. Oh, there we go. Pretty cool one-handed sword. And that is going to give you 79 damage, 24 armor pen, 12 agility. Next we have an axe, which is the scythe, but it attacks like an axe. This would be Earthen Devourer, one-handed axe, 74 damage, 21 armor pen, plus 12 to agility. Trying to get a good angle on this. There we go. Next we have the Reapers of Twilight. Daggers that look pretty cool and definitely wouldn't want to mess with a dude wielding these. 63 damage, 25 armor pen, plus 12 to agility. Nice little one-handed mace, which this mace is running around this at night, the glowing eyes and stuff like that. And this would be Shadow's Remorse, 62 damage, 21 armor pen, plus 12 to agility. And then the weapon I'll probably be using a lot because I'm a two-handed hammer person personally, and this is going to be the Maul of the Dead. 73 damage, 22 armor pen, and plus 12 to agility. Take a quick look at that design. See if we can get it in there. There it is. I will say that's definitely fits in with this faction. So one of the other things we can take a look at is the Elite Blade of Zynarus. Basically, same weapon, just the stats are a little different. Visually, it looks exactly the same, at least currently. But we're looking at 87 damage versus 80, 23 armor pen versus 21 of the normal version, and plus 12 strength versus plus 10. The Elite Harbingers of Souls also visually looks the same currently. That could change in the future. However, it's 68 damage versus 60 of the regular version, 11 armor pen versus 10, and plus 12 agility versus 10. And then one of the coolest things, I think, is we have the Elite Frost Knight armor. Now, again, I said this is visually statted, or not visually statted, better than the level 80 Frost Knight armor. For example, it has 1604 armor versus 1440, so that's a good amount of more armor, plus 15 of grit versus 12. And the durability on these things are definitely way different. Now, the coolest thing about this is when you upgrade this, you actually need the core set, so you're going to have to make that first. And the core set of armor is actually required to make the Elite version, which I think is cool. But the other thing, too, is when you get the Elite version, if you can notice, it's actually visually changed. You now have the Anarius symbol on the chest of the breastplate, and that little swirl, whatever. I haven't been able to pick out any other minor changes. I don't think the back's any different. The skulls on the side look pretty much the same. The helmet, I've been looking around. If you notice anything that you know, any other visual changes other than that breastplate, let me know. I'm curious if anybody else can find anything, but that's all I could find. But either way, definitely better statted, more in line with what the Frost Knight armor used to be. And I do like it's a very subtle change, but it is actually a really good one, so I like that. Okay, so that was a look at the Knights of the Empress sub faction for the Cold Embrace. I mean, like I said, it's pretty cool. Some things have been shifted around. I'm sure in the future there's going to be a lot more things added to these sub factions. The current roadmap at least shows that every normal faction is going to be worked on roughly every 2 months of this year. So by the end of the year, we'd have all 6 factions being updated with mechanics and I'm sure sub factions are going to be part of all of them if it's part of this one. New items, just totally reworks of everything by the end of the year. So it's pretty cool. Granted, that's a roadmap, so the things can change, things can be moved around. May take a little longer than others, whatever. But at least that's how it is. So I'm excited. I think the first of the faction updates is pretty cool, and I can guarantee that more things are going to be added to each of these sub factions once more work's done down the line. But I'm excited. This definitely gets me pretty excited for what's going to happen to this mod, and I think it was done pretty well. Leave a comment in the comment section below which faction you're looking at, if you're leaning more of the Sanguis now that we have both videos out, or if you're definitely leaning towards the Knights of the Empress. I'm still torn myself. I love the Frost Knight armor. I love a lot of these decorations that they have for the Knights, but the Sanguis is, I'd probably say it's a lot more unique to, if you take a look at all the factions across, just the kind of feel and stuff that we've had currently with all the different factions in the game. So I'm leaning that way just for its uniqueness, but I do like this way too. So I'll probably end up making both characters or use an alt account. But either way, I want to say thank you for sticking around. Like I said in the Sanguis video, we took a little break for a little while. Had a lot of life stuff going on, all good stuff, but it just took priority over everything. So we had to take a little break for about a month or so. So we're back at it now. Life settled down a little bit, and we are back at making videos. So I want to say thank you for everybody that stuck around, continue to watch, continue to support, leaving great comments and stuff like that. So thank you so much. Also want to give a shout out to our Patreons and our elite Patreons. Thank you so much for your continued support, even during our time of our break. I really do appreciate y'all. And stay tuned for the next video. We have a lot coming out. We got a lot on the lot being worked on. That was being worked on before the break, and stuff that definitely needs to be worked on since we've had a lot of updates, such as like the new magic system. So a lot of the videos like that are coming, and we have some plans for a lot of shorter videos that people have been asking for. So stay tuned for that. Definitely hit that sub button. If you like the video, hit the like. Also, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I do check them all. Also, if you feel like supporting the channel even more, check us out on Twitch. We stream on Twitch. We have a link in the description below. Also, we have a Discord community, awesome Discord community. And we actually have a couple of Discord community servers for Conan. So if you're looking for a new PvE server to play on, definitely come check us out there. Plus, we do run contests and events and stuff like that. So come check out our Discord. A link for that is in the description below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, fear the reckoning.